DFS podcast with hosts John Impemba and James Grande.
What is going on, everybody? John Impemba with James Grande. He's actually here. He's back. It's been a long 2 weeks. He's making his return with like a week left in the MLB season, which is fun. Close out the final few shows here in the MLB DFS season of all. He returned to the playbook today, so he's got a good grasp on this 7-game slate. He's coming off of the Better Sports Betting Show, so he's all warmed up. So, I should be getting mid-season form, James, right now, outside of that Giants jersey, which, yeah.
What do you mean?
What
do you mean outside the Giants?
Yeah,
Brandon Ayuk just ruled out. Giants easy tonight.
Championship back on?
Championship back on. I told you, and I opened the Better Sports Betting Show, so I'll just do the same. You sent me, it was a fantastic gift, and I appreciate you and your wife. You guys sent my daughter some new Giants gear.
Yeah. So
when me, my daughter, my wife, and my son all wear our Giants gear, we're 1-0. So championship is on because of us. Thanks to you. You started this championship run.
The day she was born, I was like, I need to get them a gift that I know he would appreciate it. Easy decision.
Easy decision. Now there's 3 of them, and Bree's trying to fight me on which one to wear. I was like, we just put her in the same one that we're 1-0 in. Like, we can't change.
You can't change the socks. You wear.
This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. But Bree's trying to change the juju up. We're in the middle of a little battle. Like she wants to, but So Giants jersey, that was a cheap shot. Honestly, that was a cheap shot you just took at me. But I appreciate being,
Hey, my team's on too, so
Well, hey John, I was very close to joining you. It was a lot uglier than your 0-2 for 6 quarters. But happy to be back. I am mid-season form. I'm in I don't know. I feel like I'm in my prime, John. I'm 31. Like, this would be my middle of my sports prime. We're in our prime.
You just got your second contract.
Your third cup of coffee, second contract. Yeah. We're good. Yeah. We're good today, dude.
Yeah, exactly here. So we got 7 games on the main slate here. Those of you who are tuning in, we appreciate you all. If you have any questions, feel free to throw them in there. And we'll be happy to answer them for you, and get you guys ready for tonight's slate. So before we get started, though, shout out to our friends at rtsports.com. Go to rtsports.com/alarm, promo code alarm23, and you can get that 100% deposit match up to $200 here. Take advantage of their DFS and pick 'em contests that they have going on. So go to rtsports.com/alarm, promo code alarm23 today. James, let's break it down. Let's get into it.
Let's get into it
here. Got 7 games on the slate, main board. You did the playbook today. When you were looking at the spreads, anything of note worthy of discussing for you?
Nothing that really stood out. I mean, Max Fried and the Braves, no surprise. They're massive favorites, and everything you look at Max Fried props, indicates that, the Braves should handily win here. Yeah. Nothing on the over-under front, though. I mean, 9 implied runs was the highest in that same game, and it's all coming in because of the Braves side of things. So nothing really stood out to me other than the Braves being just the biggest favorites on the boards, but they're going to win 100 and whatever games. So
yeah, I would agree with you. Weather-wise, what's we looking like in Chicago? Are we going to be okay here?
It looks like we should, but we've also said that before, and then games have been canceled. I would expect there to be some type of delay. I guess it just depends on how it's approached after that, right?
Sure.
If the rain doesn't stop, then maybe it's canceled, but we're not going to cancel. I would say September 21st, with literally 10 days left in the season, I would say that there's probably a very small possibility that they're like, all right, let's cancel it and play it a different day. There's not a lot of days left to cancel it and play. So I would expect, even if there is a delay, that this game is fine to play in full. And I like it. I like that game quite a bit too. So.
Yep, I would agree with you as well. So let's get into it here. Pitching position. Garrett Cole, Max Fried, Tarek Skubal, Kyle Harrison, your top 4. Myself and Mark Pitts did the podcast this morning. We didn't really find ourselves looking to get up the Cole or Fried on this slate. I know, again, big win equity with Fried. We kind of like Scooble of the group, and we're really in on Barrios tonight. But how are you reading the slate when you did the playbook today?
So a lot of that I agree with. Mainly the Garrett Cole thing, 12-2. I just am not getting there. Look, he's going to win the Cy Young. I don't think a bad start here would even change that.
Mm-hmm.
Really, I think he's just a shoe in for the Cy Young, and it's been a great year. But like, it's a tough spot, and he's been great against Toronto. Hasn't allowed an earned run against them this year in 2 starts, but they're also not a team that strikes out a lot. I know Michael King had 13 strikeouts last night, so like,
Right.
what do I know? I know nothing, Jon Snow, but
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not necessarily looking to get to Cole. I am. The one thing I would say I disagree would be the Max Fried thing.
Okay.
Um, Look, the thing that Max Fried has is just he is, I would say, the safest. He has the safest floor of any of these top pitchers
Sure.
because the matchup is appealing. And I know Washington has been a little better lately. We saw a breakout from Lane Thomas and CJ Abrams yesterday, and Meneses has been good lately. But outside those guys, it's really slim pickings for Washington. You look at Fried, and even like when you talk about the floor, he's also flashed a massive ceiling lately. I mean, he went 7 scoreless with 10 strikeouts against the Dodgers, who has been one of the best offensive teams in baseball against left-handed pitching. So I
Mm-hmm.
really like the ceiling floor combination that Max Fried has, but I think Tarek Skubal is the best pitcher of the slate, and
Okay.
I don't really think it's that close. John, while I was away, I said this to you, and I think probably right after I changed to poopy diaper, I'm not looking at ownership anymore. I'm just
Right.
going to go off because things can be really altered, when you look at ownership, and I think there is cases to be made in certain instances. This feels like a spot he's going to be super popular. But I want to play Tarek Skubal here, even if he's popular. He has a bunch of strikeouts every time out, 7 or more in 6 straight starts. Oakland in the month of September has struck out 27.6% of the time. That's 0.1% lower than the highest strikeout rate in the league. Like, there's nothing not to like about what Tarek Skubal has been
Right.
doing. And he was very inconsistent to start his return. That is not the case anymore. I mean, he's getting deep into games. He's striking everybody out. He's winning 3 straight wins when you look at Tarek Skubal's, ledger, 20 plus fantasy points in 4 straight and 5 of 6. Like, there's really nothing not to like about Tarek Skubal. Massive ballpark he's pitching in Oakland. Like, everything lines up for him. Now,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
sometimes chalk bust, but 9,600, Tarek Skubal, pencil me in. Favorite pitcher of the slate. I do love your Jose Barrios call because
That's
even
all
with,
Mark, 100% Mark in on the Jose Barrios play. I was looking a little bit further down. I like Grayson Rodriguez
yep,
here, and
agreed.
he kind of talked me into Barrios, and I think more people are going to be in on Grayson than Barrios, and therefore you get a little contrarian on a smaller slate, and I'm in on it.
Yeah, so I like both of them. I have no problem getting to either. The thing about it is, like, the Yankees were playing really well when they called everyone up. Like, we saw they call up all these kids, and they're like, "Holy crap, they're winning!" They were talking about going into this Blue Jay series. Like, what if they sweep them? Then there's only there's a 3-game difference
Yeah,
suddenly, and that's obviously hasn't been the case because the Yankees had lost their top prospect to injury.
Captain Dominguez is out.
Yeah, Dominguez is out, and Everson Pereira is hurt, and things are obviously trending in the wrong direction again. But they're still not hitting righties. Like in the month of September, to Mark's point, 26.8% strikeout rate, super high, and they have a 639 OPS as a team. Only the Tigers are worse. So
Mhm.
Barrios, who had been struggling, but now we're getting 3 straight
How
starts.
about, how about the strikeouts for
Yes,
Barrios lately?
yes,
All right.
massive strikeout appeal, and that just fits like a glove. 26.8% strikeout rate against righties for the Yankees this month. So I really like the form Barrios is in, and I agree. More people are going to go to Grayson Rodriguez, and I can't blame anybody for going to Grayson Rodriguez. I think we look at the Guardians, and you're like, oh, they're just kind of a bad team. Like
Mhm.
but they don't strike out, right? That's the thing about, and I actually gave out a Grayson Rodriguez bet on Better Sports Betting, 17.5 outs. I stayed away from the strikeouts. All Grayson Rodriguez is doing, other than his Boston start, is getting quality starts. But if he can't strike Cleveland out, it just feels better and higher upside for the Barrios front, who's gone for 20 fantasy points or more in 3 straight. So I actually like both. Both made the playbook today. I do like Barrios a little more, though. I do think you're going to get him if you do want to talk about ownership, he's going to be lesser owned. I think there's arguably a better spot here. And I see through you talking about Yankees bats. I don't see through that, or I see through that kind of, because it's not a great lineup. Like, you have Anthony Volpe hitting 5th, who, has not been good against right-handed pitching. Kiner Falefa 6th. Jake Bauers is hitting 4th. He has fallen off an absolute cliff since his initial call up. It's not a good lineup after the top 3 after Gleyber Torres. So
I have the chat bug again on my end. So if you see messages, let them go. Let them fly. On the screen here, because
I'll let them fly.
I don't see any, but cool. All right, I see 3 in there. Love to hear that. What if I told you that, and I have to imagine this is just a price point thing, that David Peterson is expected to be one of the highest rostered pitchers on the slate, almost 50%.
It wouldn't shock me, only because the strikeouts lately. And this is what I'll say when it comes to David Peterson. He has always been a guy who can miss bats. Dating back to, I remember the start of the year. Remember those rumors start of the year with Senga, that he had the issues right away?
Yeah.
Right away. Before the season started, there was issues with Senga's arm. And we were like, oh. And then Verlander gets hurt to start the year. You're like, oh,
yeah.
What is happening? And I remember talking about David Peterson as that 5th starter between him and McGill, and neither guy were any good.
Nope.
But he strikes people out. He misses bats. He's always missed bats. When you look at David Peterson's numbers, the problem is it's weird too, John, because you bring that up, and I was looking at some odds. The under 2.5 runs is favored for David Peterson in Vegas today. And I was a little surprised by that, because Philly at home against left-handed pitching is insane. You look at Trey Turner's numbers at home, Alec Boehm. You look at Nick Castellanos.
Harper actually has BVP off Peterson, and there's a lefty-lefty split. And Peterson home road splits here. He's made 10 starts, 12 appearances on the road, 7.35 ERA. So again, this is a spot where we talked about this, where if on a small slate, a bunch of people are going to be playing one guy, I will just go the other way. Yep. And if tonight that's David Peterson, then sure, you don't really need to, talk me into it. I'm not going to play David Peterson. I will play Alec Boehm and Trey Turner, though. You can bet your bottom dollar there. So that's kind of how I was looking at the slate when I took a peek at some of the rostership here. No surprise, everybody's on Scooble. It's been that way since you've been gone. Whoever is pitching against Oakland is the stock. That's just the way you're going. I am a little bit surprised, or maybe I shouldn't be, a little bit surprised that more people are seemingly getting to Barrios than Grayson here. Maybe it's just the Yankees matchup. I thought less people would be inclined to play Barrios because he's going up against Garrett Cole, but that doesn't seem to be the case here. So, Grayson ended up being a little bit more of the contrarian play than maybe there was some win equity for him there. But this is an interesting slate from a pitching perspective here. Seems like we have Sheehan and Yarbrough. I was hopeful that Sheehan was going to be the long guy and not the opener, but that apparently isn't the case here.
Yeah, I don't want to say that I have interest. I have a little interest in Ryan Yarbrough, to be honest. Look, the Giants' offense is quite. I mean, they've lost a lot of games in a row, and their best hitters right now are lefty Lamont Wade and lefty Mike Yastrzemski, and then everyone else has really not done anything at all. I mean, even Wilmer's kind of cooled down. So I kind of like Yarbrough. We've seen reports that the Dodgers seemingly are going to use Shaheen as an opener, not a extended opener. And if that's the case, I mean, Yarbrough threw his most pitches and his most innings as in a Dodger uniform last time against Seattle got a win and had 7 strikeouts. I mean, he threw 90 pitches. So I don't know. I got a weird 6,800. You look at FanDuel, like, I don't know if you looked at FanDuel pricing. You can't play Barrios over there. He's like $11,000.
Yeah.
He's the second highest priced pitcher. You get past Grayson Rodriguez at 9,100. It's impossible to like actually like pitching. Yarborough's like 7,300. I don't mind that. I don't mind him at 6,800 on DraftKings. Only in tournaments, like not touching him in cash, not touching him in single entries. Like it would be large field tournaments, Ryan Yarborough for me. But I do have a mild interest there.
Sure. Anybody else?
No.
Okay. Catcher here. Again, full-on spend up for me. I would play Real Muto in this instance if that many people were playing Peterson. I don't think I've...
That's wild.
I don't think I've spent up for Real Muto at all at any point this season. So, but could be swayed to do so in this spot because I don't find that there is much at catcher tonight. There is... it's a smaller slate, and our general value plays are not even available to us. And the value plays that are facing like Max Fried or, Endy's like probably okay because Hendricks sucks at home. But like Kirk gets Cole, Yan Gomes against Oviedo, not a lefty, but whatever. If we're playing Grayson, we like Naylor, Alvarez against Suarez, but he's been better against righties. Like I wouldn't know where else to go here. I guess Darno against Irvin, it could be appealing at 42.
Yes. So I don't dislike Darno. Both Braves catchers have kind of sucked lately. I would say that's their one weak spot, but they're going to turn it on and hit a bunch of home runs in the postseason and whatnot. But I don't mind Darno. I definitely agree with you on the Real Muto front, John. He's actually now the team leader in ISO against left-handed pitching for the Phillies. So, take that for what it's worth. 273 ISO against right-handed pitching. This is why I just don't get the Peterson thing. I listen to Phillies as my top stat.
Listen, the projected rostership stuff is not always 100%. We talk about this all the time.
Right.
We think we have it. We're looking at the numbers, and all of a sudden slate starts, and we're like, oh, it's completely opposite. But as at least right now, as of like the last time I looked at the updates, like that's where Peterson was projected. So, he's over 30% tonight.
If that like ownership isn't always correct, but like if that much if the field is getting to them, like it's probably going to be pretty close. Sure. I would throw. I know we like Grayson Rodriguez. I would definitely throw Bo Naylor into the equation if you're not playing Grayson Rodriguez. He's been really good lately. He's been really good.
Both Naylors have been really good.
Yeah, both. I mean, dude.
And Mark brought up a good point that Grayson is actually struggling against lefty bats.
Correct. He is. If that's the one negative, and that was before like he got recalled, right? Like he was really bad against lefties, got recalled, and he still was bad against lefties. Like that's just been the Achilles heel for Grayson Rodriguez. Like fortunately, like the lefties in the lineup are like Stephen Kwan and Cole Calhoun and like guys like that we don't necessarily have to worry about. But I do think Bo Naylor and in current form is firmly in play. I would probably take a shot on Jake Rogers too as like a cheap home run play. Now has 20 home runs in the year, 4 home runs in his last 4 games for Jake Rogers. Hits in 7 straight. He's $3,200.
He is the projected highest roster catcher on the slate.
I mean, it doesn't like Medina has been better, but he can't throw strikes. Medina's been just walking everybody, but he's been worse when you look at Luis Medina's numbers. He's been worse against righties. So 226 ISO allowed, 351 WOBA. Jake Rogers just one of those dudes. Another Jake that just hits home runs and has a sick mustache.
Yep.
It just is what it is.
Yep, I agree with you. Any other catchers here?
No.
Moving on over, first base position. I immediately tried to fit a lineup in that had Matt Olson in it. It gets a little dicey on the smaller slate with the lack of value here, but I'm still going to try to do it.
Yeah, I think that's why people are playing David Peterson.
Probably true.
That is why the Peterson thing is happening, because you can play Matt Olson. And if you don't, how do you fit Matt Olson? Like if you're playing Skubal and Barrios, like how are you fitting Olson?
You're basically punting outfield somewhere, right? Like it's difficult. So Olsen was a guy I was trying to fit in. If I didn't go Olsen here, I went Ryan O'Hearn at $3,800 because again, I feel like there's, there are mid-tier options, obviously, but to me, those were just on a smaller slate. If I'm not spending up, why? I'm not going to mess around with guys who are marginally priced at the same spot. Ryan O'Hearn's been good for all season at this point. So, for weeks and months on end, you and I would click on Ryan O'Hearn's name. It's like, oh, he's hitting 330 with a 900 OPS. Well, that can't last. And then like 2 weeks later, we click on again. He's hitting 330 with a 900 OPS. That can't last. And here we are a week away from the end of the season, and he's hitting 300 with an 850 OPS for the year. So, good on Baltimore. They unlocked something in O'Hearn that Kansas City never could,
Him and Aaron Hicks both. I mean, like, what are we doing here? Honestly, John, those were the exact 2 first basemen I wrote up both of them in the playbook today.
Yeah.
And I haven't really gone anywhere else. Like on FanDuel, you could play Alec Boehm at first base if you wanted to, and you could play Bryce Harper at first base, as someone you mentioned. Like, but at that point, if I'm paying over $6K, I'd probably just want to get to Olsen against Irvin. Irvin's clear issue has been against lefty bats.
Yeah, and we used to have Boehm with first base eligibility. They removed that for like this slate, so takes away a mid-tier option. Again, if you're not in on Grayson, Josh Naylor could be a guy, but there wasn't a lot else that I'm taking a peek at here. Pittsburgh isn't facing a lefty. Connor Joe is better against lefties, but Hendricks sucks at home. So Joe is leading off tonight if you wanted a cheaper play, but O'Hearn is where I was settling in on. Second base, a lot of top end spends, but again, if you're not spending all the way down, you got to find some mid-tier plays to help you pay up. So where did you find yourself plugging in here tonight?
So, yeah, I mean, you can obviously play Mookie. I think Ozzie Albies is tremendous as well. Again, Irvin against lefties has sucked, and Albies has been awesome kind of against both splits this year. But, we expect it when he faces a lefty. He's been much better against righties this year than we expect. I would play Bryson Stott against a lefty. He's been good against lefties. Mauricio is okay. I like him better at FanDuel. He has second, short, and third base eligible, and he's under 3K, but he has a lot of speed. I don't know if he's going to steal against Ranger Suarez, but the dude is just always on base if you want to play him. Mm-hmm. Again, a lot of speed, some pop, hitting 300 so far. It's weird. The Mets, all their young talent is really good, and it took them to play them to find that out. It's crazy.
So Beatty can ever actually turn it around for them,
Yeah, I know, true. But Vientos sure is, and so is DJ Stewart, young talent. When you talk about DJ,
DJ, another guy that just out of nowhere hitting ball.
But Andres Jimenez, 3,800, is in a really good spot here. I don't want to keep picking on Grayson Rodriguez, but there is some interesting Cleveland bats, right? And
I mean, no one's going to play him tonight, right? No one's going to play Cleveland, so.
Yeah, and Jimenez, you look at him, hits in 4 straight. We're getting stolen bases. We're getting extra base hits. A lot of runs batted in over the last few. So, that's the guy we expected after he got $100 million when the season started.
I'm a little surprised that J1 Bay is hitting 9th because he had been leading off. Again, I know recent production hasn't been great for him, but I am willing to play Pirates tonight against Kyle Hendricks here. So.
Dude, I actually have the Pirates listed as a stack. I think they are a little bit of a contrarian stack. I don't know if Bay.
You went on Triolo?
So I actually think Triolo is the better value play, and he's kind of just shown he's obviously had a lot of zeros, but he's also had a lot of double digits fantasy scoring over the last month or so. So. You can play him in multiple positions. Hendricks has been worse when you look at the splits. He's been worse against righties, too. So, I would say, if anything, I prefer Triolo.
We got a wind update for.
Yeah, it's blowing it. So it's blowing in, but it's not it says winds in from right at 10 miles an hour.
Got it. Okay.
So, obviously not great. But the spread in this game is still 8.5, the over-under. So, usually if that wind was going to impact it more than this, it would be at 7.5. We've seen the Wrigley winds get rise totals up to 10 when the winds are blowing out. We've seen when the winds are blowing in and it's impactful 7, 6.5. So now I like that this game's still sitting at 8.5 implied runs.
Yeah, I'm in full agreement with you. Again, we know what Hendricks is at home this year. Not good at all. Any other second baseman?
No, I like the Triolo play as my ultimate spend down.
Okay. Moving on over to third base then here, sir. Where are you looking to go? I like Gunnar here at 54 against Gaddis. and Brian Hayes at 46. And Bohm were my 3, not to steal your thunder, but that's where I was going.
Yep, those are mine. I don't have much else. Only thing else I would really add, Triolo, you could play here. I wrote up Mark Vientos today. Double donged yesterday, 3 home runs in his last 7 games, hits in 6 of them. Again, it's like he came up. He wasn't great because he wasn't playing every day, and now he's playing every day, and it's another product of like, wow, look what the rhythm I can be in when I'm playing every day. So he has a lot of power, and I understand Ranger Suarez has been pretty good pitcher, but this is he's $2,700 on a slate where we haven't really loved a lot of value. Like Ryan O'Hearn is $3,800. He's cheap, but he's not like getting you Braves cheap, or he's not getting you Phillies top end talent cheap, you know? So taking a stand somewhere in the value tier, I do think Vientos at $2,700. You can also play him at first over on FanDuel. So first and third eligible is really nice over there, but I like Vientos quite a bit.
Sure. Shortstop position. Talk to me about your favorites.
Shortstop sucks. And I wasn't going to mention Gunnar at third. I originally wrote him up at third, and then I got to short in his poor plays, and I'm like, I prefer him as a shortstop tonight. It's Trey Turner. If you look at the home splits, they're, I mean, no coincidence. You know, they clap for him. He goes off. That happened at home. He's now rewarding them with like home runs every day at home. So rewarding me with home runs every day at home. So Trey Turner, Gunnar are the top 2 plays. And then, dude, I don't have much.
I mean, just for some exposure to Atlanta, like I threw Arcia in a lineup. I know current form is just absolutely dreadful, but it is the Braves, and it's Jake Irvin. So I was willing to kind of give him a look there. Ahmad Rosario has hit lefties better than righties this year. It's $3,700. Can always play against Medina. So like these are imperfect plays, but you know, Miguel Rojas lately, 300 average, 844 OPS, right? Like hitting lefties again, like he did in Miami 10 years ago, you know? So
that's my guy. That's my punt. That was going to be my punt. Like he's been fine over the last 30 days. So I would say Rojas was the only other name that I had as well.
Okay, no, I'm not going to sit here and disagree with that too much here. All right, move on over to the outfield then. We know where we can go with the obvious top end plays, but do you have a keying in on one or two particularly?
I mean, Acuna, obviously, I know it's 6,900, nice, and you know, but like this guy is 1 home run and 3 stolen bases away from 40-70. So like he is going to be, I mean, let's face it, he's going to be selling out to do both. Not that he needs to sell out, but like, cause he's hitting 340 and has 1,000 OPS and he's doing it regularly. But obviously the upside is tremendous. I kind of love JD Martinez here. The power has been on full display for Martinez of late. 3 home runs in his last 3 games. He gets Kyle Harrison at home, Bellinger. But I just kind of went to Castellanos at 4,800. I didn't really want to go all the way up when you look at Castellanos, 3 home runs in his last 3 games, 5 home runs in his last 8 games, hits in 7 of 8, and he's matched against lefties. Like, it's been kind of a comeback season for Castellanos, who like wasn't hitting for power earlier in the year, and people on their fantasy teams were dropping him all over the place, and like could have really used the home runs later in the year. But now we're up to 27 bombs and 10 stolen bases. Like, welcome back. You know, there's a deep fly to left. Nick Castellanos is back. So that's really where the first name like really piqued my interest. You can get to all those guys; they're great, but like Castellanos is maybe my favorite spend over like $4,800.
Sure. No, I would agree with you. I think that again, just the recent form, you could certainly use him on my roto team at this point. Ended up letting him go like 2 months ago, and he immediately caught fire. So, listen, I've stacked against Max Fried before when the field was in on him. Washington still has a couple of guys on that team that can hit left-handed pitching. Thomas is one of them. It's $4,600. I like Baltimore. Both Baltimore outfielders here in the mid-tier. Love Seiya tonight at $4,400. Feels like he continues to hit the ball pretty well. You have the Atlanta guys in Harris and Rosario are cheaper ways to get some Atlanta exposure tonight if you can't afford Olsen and Acuna in the same lineup. So I think the mid-tier is actually pretty strong tonight.
Yeah, I'm okay with the mid tier. I like most of those guys you mentioned. Mark chiming in here, probably being first if you kept Castellanos.
Oh, thanks, Mark.
Probably not wrong, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
Probably not wrong.
I'd at least be in third. That's for sure.
It's a great point by Mark there. It's an absolutely
fantastic. Can't see the chat,
point.
so I don't know what Mark's saying, but yeah, I'm sure it was helpful and insightful.
It was. It really was. Also, shout out to Mark for filling in.
Mark did a great job. No doubt about it. I said before we go, me, you, and him got to do a 3-way tri-man pod before the season.
Okay. Okay. I'm down. And that might go for a very long time because I talk too long as it is.
I'm gonna pick a nice final slate of the
year. 5-game slate. 4-game slate where like
final Friday of the season, 18 games, nobody's playing. It'll be great.
Yeah. I like Sawinski at 36, John. Sure. He's been good. And again, I did kind of mention the Pirates are a little bit interesting to me. Brian Reynolds on FanDuel is really cheap. He's like 3,100. I'd play him over there.
Without reading your playbook today, I told you I was in on the Pirates. So, and then you were like, Pirates are my stack. I said that makes sense. I feel like this is a great spot to get some Pittsburgh exposure tonight.
And Duhar is $2,900, hitting 5th, and the hitting has never been really the question for Miguel Andujar. He just literally cannot do anything.
He needs to go out there with a bigger glove, just try to maybe help him catch the ball a little bit.
Instead of how Brian Robinson showed up with the giant hat last year, they just need to start making the giant gloves.
Well, what's weird for Andujar is that they do in fact have the universal DH now, so he doesn't even have the field. Yet he took him for a while to crack the Pirates lineup here. It was, as soon as the Yankees chose him over Urania, and now both were basically out of not Urania. What's his name? Was it Urania? Was that who it was?
No,
who was it? It came out of you, didn't it? Am I making this up?
They chose.
But that dude was playing in Minnesota, anyways, like the next year. So
yeah, come back to me.
Yeah, you're a Yankees fan. I was asking you. You don't know anything.
Listen, dude. Yeah. I have baby brain. Okay, you can't just put me on the spot here. All right, I can use that excuse for it.
Kevin hitting 3rd tonight. Just mentioning it.
Wouldn't be we're back. Yeah. We're all the way back. If you're
Mark called out Johan Rojas here.
Love him. I was going to mention him too.
Great.
It's been great.
Great minds think alike.
He's been great, dude. The stolen bases have been great. Doesn't have a lot of power, but a lot of gap to gap speed. 9 doubles in his 52 games. 13 stolen bases in 52 games, right? So you're looking at, if you're talking about a full season sample, you're talking about a guy, the math is math, and that's 40 stolen bases over the course of a year. So he's clearly getting on base. It correlates fine with the top of the Phillies lineup too. If you wanted to play Schwarber, if you wanted to play Trey Turner, he's on base for those guys too. So yeah, I think Rojas is a great play. Wouldn't play Christian Pache, who's batting 9th behind him. I don't love that correlation because he hasn't had a hit in all of September, but I do like Johan Rojas.
Gio Urshela, by the way, is the name we were both trying to come up with.
Gio Urshela. So you were correct.
Yeah, I said Urania. I was close.
I was thinking prospect because Urshela did get moved, but he also he played for the my brain was not
all right, let's get to the Call of Fame here. Give me your home run call of the evening.
I'm gonna go Trey Turner. I was gonna go Matt Olson, but like if Peterson's that highly owned, I just want to talk people off that ledge,
Yeah.
and go some Phillies here. I'm gonna go Trey Turner.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Jack Swinsky.
It's a good one.
Power guy in Chicago against Hendricks, who doesn't really give up a lot of home runs, but today could be the day. Top stack of the day. I think we're both in agreement. We like Atlanta, but Philly?
I'm gonna go Philly.
Okay.
Dude, I'm going Philly because the field is playing David Peterson. Like Philly was my number one stack
let's see what
on the playbook.
Philly rostership looks like here tonight. Nobody's over 10%.
I mean, this is what, and this is kind of to what I was talking about earlier, John, and I'm not trying to like overdo this point, but like sometimes you get caught up in ownership like that, right? Yeah. Where like if I was really like, oh man, David Peterson, like why am I playing Philly? All the numbers, other than the strikeouts for David Peterson lately, like all the numbers are really good for right-handed bats against David Peterson, and left-handed numbers against David Peterson are really good. And I had Philly listed as my top stack. They almost have 5 implied runs. Like they have all good numbers against left-handed pitching this year. Sometimes we let ownership really skew what we originally were. Our brains were telling us.
And the difference is that this is actually a good team that we want to play in Philly. We've done this before where it's like, well, or I say we, but you were away. Hunter Brown was getting 60% rostership against Oakland. He had like a 9 ERA over his last 10 starts. He struggles against lefties. Like, this is a great spot. Let's get a little sneaky with Oakland. No one's playing them. He threw a no-hitter through 6 innings, and they took him out after 7. I'm all right because Oakland sucks. Like, that happens. But Philly doesn't suck. So, you can play some Philly tonight. Some really good players there and go against Peterson. So, I'm with you. I think both Atlanta and Philly are in great spots. I do like, as I mentioned, like Pittsburgh tonight is probably a value stack that can go out there. And you can probably play some Detroit against Medina. We haven't really talked a lot Detroit, but I think that's again, some guys on that team that don't look great on paper, but I don't think Medina is all that good of a pitcher. So
no, he's gonna walk he walks so many people too. Like I would say Baltimore would be right up there for contrarian stack. I don't know what the ownership is. I assume everyone's playing Peterson to get to Atlanta. I love Baltimore tonight. I wanted Kjerstad to be in the lineup. He's not. Yeah. Aaron Hicks is in the lineup. I think that's a little bit interesting, John, hitting 7th.
Baltimore is very chalky.
Oh, are they?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, everybody, their core plays are 12 to 18%.
Okay. Okay.
Atlanta also chalk. Acuna, Harris, Olsen, 15 and more, so.
Well, I do. Aaron Hicks 2,900 makes a good little like Baltimore piece of the Baltimore pie. So the Prince.
The lowest percentage on Baltimore tonight is Frazier at 8%.
Frazier, yeah, and no one's playing Frazier. And the Prince, what's up, dude?
No one's playing.
Good to be back.
No one's playing Dodgers tonight.
I mean, they're interesting because Kyle Harrison is a rookie, right? Mm-hmm. Like a talented rookie, but the Dodgers have 5.3 implied runs tonight. Like they also, like Kyle Harrison, 458 ISO allowed to lefties, 216 ISO allowed to righties. The Dodgers hit a lot of home runs, like especially with JD Martinez back in that lineup. They might hit a lot of home runs. So
yeah, I said Detroit might be sneaky. I was also wrong. 20% McKinstry, 16% Rogers, 15% Verling tonight. So
I think I'd rather play a cheaper or lower owned stack than a higher owned Detroit stack. If I'm picking between like shitty
Pittsburgh
stacks,
and Detroit?
Yeah. If I'm picking between like 2 bad teams, I'd probably go the lower owned.
Okay, let's build a lineup here for the people.
Okay, let's build a lineup.
And if we have any questions again, let me know because I can't see any on my end. So
the Prince, let you guess the Prince's comment. So you said welcome back.
FanDuel pitcher and 2 values.
No, I'm really late.
I'm really late.
That just happened. 40 minutes into the show, the Prince.
Yeah, the Princes might have missed the shows. Again, we've been smaller slates and end of season audience. We've only been doing 30 minutes. in James's return. We're obviously going a little bit longer here today. So happy you were able to make the show to Prince. You might have been a little late and missing the show the last couple of times. Hopefully you still caught the replay though, because you can watch them on YouTube right after we're over. So, all right, let's go. We got Scoobs in, and then what's our SP2? What are we doing?
I mean, let's play Let's plug Barrios and see what we can do. Let's party with that.
We gotta go Rogers at 32 as a catcher. Just why not? We're gonna go with the Trilio.
O'Hearn at first, or O'Hearn at first.
Yeah, O'Hearn at first works.
We need to get some Philly, dude. Rojas, cheap outfielder.
Let's go. I'm gonna do Bohm at third. Rojas in the outfield.
Trey or Gunner?
No, I think Trey works, dude. Let's get Trey. And now we have 4,300 for 2 outfielders here. We'll get Harris. He's hitting 6 tonight.
Yeah, we need some. Yeah, let's get some lefty Atlanta bats for sure.
I want to get Harris and Rosario. I know Rosario's kind of sucked.
He has kind of sucked. Not the best correlation.
Oh,
but
Jack? Just a one-off Pirate?
Yeah, Jack. Yeah, Jack is your home run call. So
let's see. If we went off, do we get 5K? Like a Zoom? You want to do a Zunio?
No. Castellanos, if we're going right there.
Oh yeah.
Full Philly.
Oh, easy. Yeah, that's easy. Perfect. So that was not even as hard as I thought it was going to be. That's what she said. Scooble, Barrios, Rogers,
nice.
O'Hearn, Trilio, Bohm, Turner, Rojas.
Welcome, Paul.
Castellanos and Swinsky. So we got a 2-man Pittsburgh play. We got a 4-man Philly stack. 1 off Baltimore, 1 off Detroit with Barrios and Scooble. Yeah, dude. Listen, I'm happy that everybody's here. If you have your questions, let us know. We can hang around for a little bit longer and talk the slate over.
Well, let me know. Let me know, because you can't see the question.
Yeah, I can't.
You can't see.
I will. I can try to leave and come back if you want to just hold down this solo for a moment here, James.
Oh, yeah, sure.
All right, let's do this.
Yeah, we could talk. So if you guys head over to fantasyalarm.com, you can see that the MLB DFS playbook and core plays were released, and I'll give you a little sneak peek. Philly was my favorite stack of the day. So, talking through it, Philly was my favorite stack of the day. No Garrett Cole from Octavius here. So, Octavius, it's just tough to get to Garrett Cole when you start talking about the price point Garrett Cole has. And John, you still can't see the comments, can you?
I can. Hold on.
You can. So you can see Octavius here?
I can.
Octavius,
right here. But if people start chatting, we were going to start seeing seeing them come up on the right side so everybody could see, but I got to move this thing down here.
Okay. So when we talk, I'll just we're getting asked about Garrett Cole here.
Sure.
So the only thing
about on the right side here. Here we go.
Okay, cool.
So let's talk this through with everybody. So you can certainly play Garrett Cole. There's no Vlad Guerrero in the lineup tonight for Toronto. It's just the problem that you're going to have with Garrett Cole is that he's $12,200 on a slate that really doesn't have a lot of great value. So if you want to spend up on some of the guys that we threw into our lineup tonight, which was Turner or Castellanos that we liked, Scooble that we liked, it's hard to get Cole plus play Philly or plus play Atlanta or play Cole and another top pitcher. Again, a lot of the field that we're looking at when it comes to the roster percentage is playing Peterson tonight.
Yep.
So and we don't like Peterson personally. So we're going against the grain with that call. But the reason that Peterson is getting all of that exposure is because they're going with Scooble, Peterson as their core, and then they're spending up for Atlanta, and obviously not Philly because they're playing Peterson, but they're basically playing Atlanta at that point to get him in their lineups tonight. So nobody is actually really getting to Cole. Cole is one of the lower projected rostered pitchers tonight, I think, because of the price. So if you're in a multi-entry tournament tonight, go play Garrett Cole. Like, he could go out there and give you 35 fantasy points tonight. No Vladdy. That team strikes out a lot. They don't hit righties at all. So I'm definitely not going to tell you not to play Garrett Cole. He's just not fitting our builds. And we actually like Barrios a little bit more tonight based off the lineup that we built here. So
yeah, and I think just like toying around with lineups, if you are playing on DraftKings, I mean, even on FanDuel, he's 11.5. So he's the most expensive pitcher. That gives you $2,900, just over 2,900. So like not the most comfortable position player build, especially when you could play Tarek Skubal for $1,200 cheaper on FanDuel. But like I did a Cole Peterson build, John, just to like it's $4,000. Like
Right.
that makes sense if you're in on David Peterson, but we're not. We
Right.
just stacked Philly. So
I think our equivalent to that would be Yarbrough, right? Like,
yes.
and again, that Yarbrough is still $1,300 more than
Right.
Peterson, but then you're probably looking at what, 38, 37?
38.75.
Yeah.
38.75.
So then you go ahead and you play Rogers, you play
Rojas.
Chilio, Rojas, right? And then you can work your way up into the mid 4Ks and fit some
Right.
guys that we talked about there with Garrett Cole. So Cole certainly in play. It's just that the price point for the way we're building our lineups tonight feels a little tough to get to, but
Agreed.
certainly can. I think the only way people are getting to like full Atlanta is they're not even playing Skubal. Paul says, "What do we think about Ranger Suarez tonight?" I think Ranger Suarez is an interesting play. You have to look at some of the Mets bats and
Yep.
the guys that do hit lefties well, right? Lindor hits lefties for power. Alonso hits lefties for power. So we do like Ranger. I think he's an interesting spot tonight, given current form. But you have to just look at the Mets lineup and see guys that are hitting well right now. Puts him a little bit at risk. And at that point, again, like if you need the $200, fine. But I would rather play Grayson, I think, against Cleveland than Suarez against the Mets this evening, personally.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great price. I think that's the one thing we can say about Ranger. It's a great price for the form he's in. But you just talked about it, John. The Mets in the month of September. Oh, I had it on. Oh, so sad. I had it on righty. So I was about to give them. No, still 788 team OPS. Like, it's still
Yeah.
good. It's still that's top 10 in baseball against left-handed pitching in the month of September. So they don't strike out a lot, 21%. So what is your real ceiling? I guess that's kind of the issue with Grayson in the same spot, right? Like same price, or Grayson's in a spot that doesn't really give him a high strikeout ceiling. That's
Right.
kind of why you and I got to Barrios, because the Yankees are striking out a lot, and he has 7+ strikeouts in 3 straight games. And
Yeah.
so like, yeah, Rangers okay. I like the Mets value though. Like I like Vientos. I like Mauricio on FanDuel. I could get to Lindor and Alonso. So indifferent about Ranger. I think he's a good pitcher that's in a semi-tough spot.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Looking at the lineup we built, if we wanted to go to Freed over Berrios for just the win equity, that would give us. We'd have to get off of Castellanos here. It'd be like a $3,600 outfielder. Like there's ways to kind of build around if you wanted to try to find the double spend. But Freed, unless it feels like the max. Like I don't find a way of going Skubal. Cole here without major pivoting from what the lineup we built off there. Like,
I mean, you'd be super contrarian if you're doing like you're the only one in the field probably playing that lineup.
Yeah, I think what I would end up being here. Let's see if we went back to Castellanos with.
You probably can't play Trey.
Yeah, so that's what it is. What we would do. We're like $100 off Dansby, right? Like it would be.
Well, I was gonna say you could. So 100 off Dansby, you could probably go down to Gunner, and then you're moving around elsewhere too. Like you could go down from. Let's see. Is there anyone at catcher you can punt?
No, not really.
No,
That's where that's initially where I went to.
And what are we doing in the outfield? We're doing.
I have Rojas, Castellanos, and Sawinski. So like you could get off Castellanos and that puts you right back at that puts you back at Harris. So
or if you're playing Gunner, you pair him with Santander.
Yeah, that's probably that's
because you also have O'Hearn. You also have O'Hearn in that lineup too. So you have 3. What is that? 2, 3, 4?
Yeah, 3.
Or 1, 3, 4 in that build.
1, 3, 4. So yeah, that'd probably be the way to go. Flash that back up on the screen for people to kind of look at. If you wanted to double spend, let's see, the chat box has to move. There we go. If you wanted to double spend, it's probably the most effective lineup we could build here. So, just an idea of what to take a peek at. So,
I'll give DePrince here. DePrince, I got some FanDuel plays for you. Okay, So my favorite FanDuel plays, pitcher is Tarek Skubal. I'm not moving off Tarek Skubal. He's 10-3. I don't care. He's my favorite FanDuel pitcher. I love Cabrian Hayes at 3K. Castellanos 3,500 is stupid cheap. Mauricio 28 is a really good play hitting second. And Gunnar at 38. Those are some of my probably the favorite. Ryan O'Hearn 3,100. Alec Boehm is sub 3K. John 2,900. So
Yeah.
Just to rattle off some of the FanDuel plays because it doesn't seem like I think no more questions unless Mark has something witty to say about.
Yeah. I don't see Mark.
I know Mark already left. Mark's going
already. All right, guys, that's the show here for today. Again, we'll be back Monday, breaking everything down. You can find us on Discord. You can get us on.
Wait, it's Thursday, John.
Wait, what day is today?
It's Thursday. We'll be back tomorrow.
Friday. We'll be back tomorrow,
dude. You have to. Wait, you're jumping past. You're trying to sim past the Giants' win versus the Niners tonight.
True. All right. Well, it's Thursday apparently. Good news to me. We'll be back tomorrow with a live show in the morning. And we'll be back live 5:00 Eastern time tomorrow as well. So like and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Get that notification. I'll be actually back live at 7:00 Eastern. Myself and Andrew Cooper for the Thursday Night Football preview show. So if you want some fantasy football start sit, some NFL showdown DFS questions, get in here 7 p.m. Eastern time. I'll be back breaking down some football for everybody. But for now, James and I will be back tomorrow, and we will catch you guys there.